Now we shall first talk about the urogenital triangle. We know that the urogenital triangle occupies the anterior part of the pelvic outlet, and it is having the following boundaries. Anteriorly, the lower margin of the symphysis pubis and the arcuate pubic ligament. Posteriorly, an imaginary transverse line joining the anterior margins of the ischial tuberosities of both sides, and laterally you have the ischiopubic rami of both sides. Now, if we make a coronal section through the urogenital triangle, it will look somewhat like this. Now, please keep in mind that this diagram depicts a coronal section through the urogenital triangle in a male individual. Okay. Now, let's describe the diagram and see what are the structures that we can see. This is the skin. Okay, first we will go from superficial to deep. The first structure that comes is the skin. Okay, in male, the skin presents in the midline a median or midline raphe, which is continuous with the median raphe of the scrotum. Okay. Now, deep to the skin is a fatty layer of superficial fascia, and then this green line depicts the membranous layer or the fascia of Colles. This is the membranous layer of the superficial fascia. Now we know that in the anterior abdominal wall we have encountered two layers of the superficial fascia, an anterior fatty layer and a deep or posterior membranous layer. Okay, the fascia of Camper and the fascia of Scarpa respectively. Okay, here also in the perineum, in the superficial fascia, we get first, here we get a fatty layer of superficial fascia, and then we get a membranous layer of superficial fascia, which is known as the fascia of Colles. And remember your classes on the pelvis. The everted lower margins of the ischiopubic rami on the outermost aspect gives attachment to this fascia of Colles or Colles fascia. Okay. Now we will come into this space. This is known as the superficial perineal pouch. This blue line depicts the perineal membrane, or it is also called the inferior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Now always remember that the inferior structures are superficial and the deep structures are superior while describing the perineum. Okay, so above or superior to or deep to the perineal membrane, we get the deep perineal pouch. So this space is the deep perineal pouch, and above it, this light blue line, it depicts the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Okay. Now, the other important structures that we can see here, please note these two structures. These are the ischiopubic rami. Remember that here we have made a cross section, a coronal section through the urogenital diaphragm. So the structure that we are cutting here on the lateral aspect are the ischiopubic rami and not the ischial tuberosities. Okay. Now here you can see the obturator internus muscles. The pink line depicts the obturator fascia. You can see the levator ani muscle of the pelvic diaphragm taking origin from the obturator fascia, white line of the obturator fascia, and it is covered by the pelvic fascia and below by the inferior layer which is known as the anal fascia. Okay, and what is this? This area which is bounded by the pelvic diaphragm and the obturator internus muscle and below by the deep perineal pouch, this area which is filled with fat, it is actually the anterior recess of the ischiorectal fossa that we had talked about in our previous video. Okay, so we know that these two areas are occupied by the ischiorectal fossa. Their anterior recess extends over the urogenital triangle. Okay. Now, attached to the everted lower borders of the ischiopubic rami, we have the two crusts of the penis on both sides, and they are covered at their sides and the inferior aspect by a muscle which is known as the ischiocavernosus muscle. In the midline, this part, this is the bulb of the penis. Okay, it is attached to the perineal membrane at its upper aspect, and the bulb of the penis is covered by a muscle here which is known as the bulbospongiosus muscle. Okay, and this bulb of the penis is penetrated by the urethra, the bulbar fossa of the urethra, and here you can see the bladder, the prostate, the cavity of the bladder which extends to the prostatic urethra, then the membranous part of the urethra, then the bulbar fossa of the urethra, and from here you have the two bulbourethral glands in the deep perineal pouch. Okay, so we can see here that the superficial perineal pouch is this space which is bounded below by the Colles fascia and above by the perineal membrane. We have the deep perineal pouch above the superficial perineal pouch which is bounded below by the inferior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm or the perineal membrane and above by the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Okay, and in the superficial superficial perineal pouch, we get the two ischiocavernosus muscle and the bulbospongiosus muscle. Now we shall compare the coronal section through the perineal pouches with a picture of a sagittal section through the perineal pouches. Now, this layer is the green layer. It is the fascia of Colles. It continues anteriorly with the dartos muscle of the scrotum and then with the fascia of the penis and goes further anteriorly with the fascia of scarpa of the anterior abdominal wall. Okay. In this section, you can see the section of the symphysis pubis in the midline. This is a mid-sagittal section, and here you can see a thickening at the lower margin of the symphysis pubis. This is the arcuate pubic ligament. Okay, and we have seen the perineal membrane in blue. In this diagram, this is the perineal membrane. Okay, the perineal membrane, posteriorly it is attached to the perineal body, and then it splits into two. One slip goes downwards, continues with the Colles fascia, and the other slip continues upwards as the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, and anteriorly it continues again with the perineal membrane and presents here the transverse perineal ligament. Note here that the arcuate pubic ligament and the transverse perineal ligament presents a gap between them. Okay, and here we can see this part is the bulb of the penis. The bulb of the penis, this is the bulb of the penis, and it joins with the two crus of the penis to continue as the body of the penis. Okay, so this is the bulb of the penis, and this muscle is the bulbospongiosus muscle that you can see here. Okay, now this is the prostratic urethra, this is the bladder, this is the membranous part of the urethra. As you can see it here, it passes through the deep perineal pouch. This part is known as the membranous part of the urethra. Then the membranous part of the urethra continues as the spongy part, and the spongy part presents first intrabulbar fossa within the bulb of the penis. As you can see it here, there is a fossa here, a dilatation. The spongy part of the urethra that I am drawing here, it presents the intrabulbar fossa proximally, and distally it presents terminal fossa at the glans of the penis. Okay, so this is the glans of the penis, and you can see the terminal fossa here. Now this is the bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland has been shown in the coronal section also. Okay, now here also you can see that the deep perineal pouch, it is between the perineal membrane and the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, just as it has been shown in the coronal section. Okay. In the superficial perineal pouch, there is a muscle at the posterior aspect of the urogenital triangle. This muscle is known as the transversus perinei superficialis. Transversus perinei superficialis. And in the deep perineal pouch, there is a muscle which is known as the transversus perinei profundus. Okay. As you can see in the coronal section, that the perineal membrane and the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm are closed laterally by the ischiopubic ramus, as they are attached to the pelvic aspect of the ischiopubic ramus. Okay, so they are closed they are attached to the pelvic aspect of the ischiopubic ramus, and so the deep perineal pouch is closed by the pelvic aspect of the ischiopubic ramus on both sides. Because the deep perineal pouch is a fascial lined space between the perineal membrane and the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Here also you can see that the deep perineal pouch, it is closed on the anterior aspect, as the perineal membrane continues with the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm anteriorly, and at the posterior aspect also the perineal membrane splits into two. The upper layer continues with the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm, and the lower layer continues with the fascia of Colles. But the superficial fascia, the superficial perineal pouch, though it is closed behind and it is also closed on both sides. See, this superficial perineal pouch, it is also closed on both sides, because the perineal membrane which bounds it superiorly is attached to the pelvic aspect of the ischiopubic ramus, and the fascia of Colles which lines it superficially or inferiorly is attached to the everted lower border of the ischiopubic ramus. So this pouch is also closed on both sides. But unlike the deep perineal pouch, the superficial perineal pouch is open anteriorly. Okay, so it continues to the anterior abdominal wall in the space between the fascia of Scarpa and the aponeurosis of the external oblique. Okay, this space is known as the superficial inguinal space.